Do you often find yourself working really hard on your business, spending most of your week doing different tasks? But if I asked you to just write down what did you do this week, you'd have a hard time coming up with an accurate list. Well, that's what I want to help you with today, because when you know what you're doing in your business, then you can make sure that you have the right structural system and the right legal coverage to keep your business secure, scale it, and ultimately sustain it to the level that you want to achieve. I'm Tamsin Horton, owner and creator of Bizzlebox, business plus legal in an online monthly subscription designed to make your digital empire secure, scaled, and sustainable. All right, let's get started. You'll see what you're going to do is using this worksheet, you're going to just track your business like you would track anything. If you've been on a diet, maybe you've tracked your calories or you've tracked what you've eaten. If you're running, training for a 5K, maybe you're tracking your mileage daily on an app. That's all you're going to do for your business, because you see, your business is a person just like you are. And in order to secure it, sustain it, and scale it, you've got to know what it is doing on a weekly basis. Ultimately, what it's doing all the time. But we're going to start very simply with this exercise. So what I want you to do is download this worksheet, and then all you do is you say, today I worked on what? So did you send your newsletter out? Awesome. That's one of the issues I struggle with on consistency, but inspired by Amy Porterfield, I am committed to doing it this year. So I would write that down. I sent out the newsletter. Then how many times did you do it? Now for your newsletter, you're probably just going to do it once a week. So put a little mark in that column and then say, does that task already have a system behind it? And I'm talking about the structural system, not the what I call the final tail end of a system, which is typically the marketing and the launch end that you hear so many people talking about, but the structural system where if I were to come into your office, you could hand me the piece of paper or the computer that had your system completely mapped out so I could literally step into your shoes. That's a structural system, and it's really key to growing a business, to moving it beyond that hobby phase, to moving it into those next income levels. You've got to have structural systems. So does it have that? Did you do that task as a result of having that structural system in place? And then secondly, is that task legally covered? Now, in this box, you may have no idea. If you're not sure what legal stuff would even cover that task, then just write, I have no idea. Like, I didn't even think legal would be associated with that. Let me give you a little insider tip. Law is the rule book for everything. Everything in our lives eventually is anchored in a law, because law is what allows us to keep our homes, to be paid when we've done work, to have control over our children and what they do and don't do. Law is the foundational bedrock. So if you do a task and you know that you haven't consciously set up legal coverage for it, just put in, have no idea. Another example would be, I scheduled a client appointment. Now maybe you did this 4 times this week. And when you say, did I have a structural system that went from having no idea who the client was to bringing them on, to sending them pre-call materials, to follow up, like the whole structural framework. If, it's kind of, I kind of have a system, but not really, you're going to have a really hard time scaling and ultimately sustaining, because if all your efforts pay off and you do get exactly what all your marketing efforts are aimed at, you've got to have that structural system, or the business will stall in a best case scenario. Worst case scenario, it'll kind of deteriorate behind the scenes. And I don't want that to happen to you. And then, is that task legally covered? Now here, maybe you'd write something like, I'm using my friend's contracts that she had for her clients, and then I kind of changed some stuff, but I'm not really sure what else I was supposed to do. Perfect. That's what I want you to use that final column for. I hope this was helpful. Please feel free to post comments and questions. Feel free to send me a DM on Twitter. I am glad to answer anything. And make sure to check out Bizzlebox. There is a sampler and there's also a monthly subscription, completely designed to give you a strategist, a coach, and an attorney, all for $29 a month in this first beta release. Have a wonderful week, and please, please, please track your business this week so that you can see exactly what you're doing. Does it have a structural system, and is it legally covered? Have a great day. Bye-bye.